Alright, so this is a Desiderio, and to take it apart, you're going to need a screw gun or a screwdriver, but you need a number 3 tip, which, let me see if I'm getting it. Number 3 is the smallest of the Phillips. That's a number 2, and the big one I think is the number 1. Either way it goes, 1, 2, or 3 being 1 being the smallest or 3 being the smallest, but you need the smallest Phillips head screwdriver you can get, and a set of side cutters. You're going to need a 1mm Allen wrench, and that's about it. So what I usually get started on is you've got your steam knob here, your adjustment, and there's a set screw hole in the side of it, so you want to remove that, turn it counterclockwise and pull that off. There is a flat spot, so when you go to put this back on, you just want to know that there's a flat spot on here that you want to align that back with, so when you tighten it up it's in the locking flat spot. Alright, on the back of the machine there is a push button right here. Sometimes it's a little difficult, sometimes they're a little looser, but you push this in on the side and pull your filter out, and you have 3. Actually, you have 4, but you only need to take out 3 of the Phillips head screws on the back to get this back port off. All right. Now, once those are off, inside here there's a rubber grommet on the inside of the machine, and generally it's attached to the vacuum motor. So there's something like a catch between this back port, and so air blows out or dust blows out into the machine. Anyhow, this just pulls right out. It's real easy to slip on and off. If you lose this little paper tab, this little paper seal right here, it's really no big deal. I never put them back on anyhow. There's no reason for it. I don't know why they do it. But inside here, there's a little rubber grommet that I'll show you when we open the machine. And when you go to put the port back in, you want to kind of turn it and stick your finger on the inside and push anything that's coming into the inside of the port. You want to push it up and onto the outside. So the rubber grommet will fit on the outside. This internal rubber grommet will fit on the outside of the port we just took out. Alright. Now to the front port. Same thing, you've got 4 silver screws here. 3 are the ones that you're going to take out. One that does not want to come out. Oh, let me get a hand screwdriver. Looks like they put me a little sideways at the factory. I'll have to get that out later. Anyway, usually don't have that much of a problem with getting one out. So anyhow, on this, same thing with the paper washer. You don't have to worry about it if you miss it, because there's no water that's going to get behind here anyhow. Okay, the thing that's tricky about this is you can pull this out and you see the hose that's attached to it, this rubber hose. If you notice, this port right here has grooves on it that actually match the hose. So all you do is kind of pinch it off. You have to hold the rubber hose and pinch it off and turn it counterclockwise until it unscrews. So you want to make sure you hold the hose, because you don't want the hose turning, because it'll unscrew it from inside the machine. Now, real quick, before I get any further with this, when we go to put the machine back together, this hose is going to be on the inside somewhere. Generally, you can reach in with your fingers like I do, and I find the hose and I pull it out like this with 2 fingers to where I can grab some of it, and then I pinch it off, just kind of hold it in place, and just kind of weave this into it a little bit, and then you screw this back in. It doesn't have to go all the way to this edge of the, it doesn't have to go all the way there, but make sure you got 3 or 4 good turns on it, and it's fine, and then you can push it back in. All right, so we remove the front port. Now, you've got 4 black rivets on each side. And the way these rivets are put together, it's kind of like an auto body rivet. Let me see if I can get here. It's the holder, the housing, and there's a hole in the center of it. And this little pin goes in the center of it. Okay, so once that pin is pushed all the way in, it expands these lips out right here, and they hold the machine together. So what we're going to do, I use a 2mm with a T-handle, but you can use whatever you've got. It doesn't matter if it's a pick, and I have used stuff like that, like an ice pick or whatever. Anyway, there's going to be 2 that give you no trouble at all, and 2 that are going to give you a little bit of trouble. So you put that right in the center of the pin and push it in as far as it'll go. Okay, and this particular one right here, the back right, is you're facing, as the machine is facing you like this, back right, the pin pushes in, but it gets stuck on the circuit board housing. So what you have to do is you push the pin all the way in as far as you can, then you bring your push rod out a little bit, and you just pry out on that, okay, on the housing, and you have to stick the clippers behind it and just cut it off. Okay, so then you go to this one, push it in, pushes all the way in. Sometimes you'll feel it drop, and then you can get your fingers behind it and just pull the rivet head out. This one should give you some issue, because just like the one on the back right, because it's up against the water tank, and so we push in as far as we can go. Oh, that one was lucky, it did go all the way in, so I didn't have to worry about cutting it off. Alright, that one came right out. And then this last one doesn't give you any issue at all. It pushes all the way in, and it comes out. Alright, so now that we've got that done, the one or the ones that you may have to cut off, when you go to lift the top blue hood, you may have to reach up underneath the lip and hold the base of the unit and kind of pull out a little bit to get it over the cutoff rivet. Okay, so you go to lift the top, you're right here around the bottom edge of the blue top. You can lift up, and then what I do is take my thumb and push down on the water tank and let it go into the machine. And see, it's out of its ring now. So now we can just lift up the top and basically expose the machine. And what you're going to have the rivet connection that was left over. If you can get this stuff out, that's great. If not, it's not going to hurt the machine any by leaving it in there, except for if you turn it upside down and you hear it rattling around in there. But that's the only thing. It's because the other pin goes up against the boiler here, and it goes down in the bottom. Sometimes you can see it like this one here. Looks like I can grab the front corner and grab the pin out. Now, if I had my longer needle nose, anyway, I'll get it out later. But for the sake of argument, what you're looking for is right here. This is your electro valve. Since you're not getting a click for steam, you have 3 wires here, green ground, and the white neutral, and then a blue that's a hot. It doesn't really matter what the color of the wires are. The problem is sometimes in shipping, when these people jar the machines down, some of these don't always connect perfectly. Some of them are really connected well, but you're just going to be looking for one of the wires coming off of here to make sure it's connected, because if it's not, that's your main problem. Other than that, there is a screw, and unfortunately this machine was beat up really bad in shipping, so there is a screw in the top of your circuit board cover, and you can take that out, take that screw out, take this top off, and then just lift the circuit board out. Just make sure you've got all the wires connected. You should have a ground, 2 plug-ins, 3rd plug-in, and then black, red, green, a space on the connector, and then white. And if it's not that, then it'll have to come in to be fixed here. But 90% of the time, it's going to be right here with the wire. Something got knocked off in here if you're not getting any steam release and you're up to pressure. So then basically we go to put it back on, clear out what you can of the rivet stuff and find that. You set it back on. You're going to be setting the top, and you have to look down because this brass piece right here has to go up through the hole on the back of the top. If you can't get it, there is another way to get it, but kind of look down the back of the top, line it up so where your brass knob is coming through, and then you can't push down hard yet. You want to align with your fingers the tank, the water tank. Once you get it that it feels good around here, and by the way, if you pull this out, it's no big deal. Just take the whole seal out, put this piece back on underneath. There's a lip that catches it, and just feed it back around, back into place, and there it's set back again. Now I'm going to bring the water tank up, aligning the lip of the water tank all the way around with the hole in the rubber. I put my finger down far enough to grab inside the tank and just pull the tank up. And then make sure you still have your brass knob coming up, and you push it down, seat it down. And what you're going to do is, personally, I like to make sure I haven't lost my hose in here somewhere. Get that in, start with the front port, come back to the back port, insert that, put your screws in, and then do the rivets. Because if you do the rivets first, you put it back together, and you can't reach something in here to finish it, then you've lost your rivets again. So anyway, now see, it's sitting very low right here in the outside of the body. What you want to do is you can grab this. You can take 2 sets of needle nose. You can bring it down and pull it up, and then take another set of needle nose down lower and hold it. But if you cannot do that, one of the easiest ways to do this, and it's really not a problem, you take these 3 screws out, and you take the manometer, pop it out, and there's also a paper washer on here. If you lose that, again, no big deal. You can pull this out and out of your way, and you can shine a light right down in here, and you'll see the body of the electro valve there, and you can stick a screwdriver in there up underneath it, and you can see I'm pushing it up right now. That way you can get your knob back on it and get the set screw tightened up. But it just gives you a little bit to bite on. So I'll put my knob back on here. And then all you have to do is retighten that. Now this particular unit it's got a couple broken pieces on it, so I've got to fix it. I'm not going to put this back on. I'll repair it first, but then you just put your screws back in. Then again, you go to your rear port or front port, but rear port, there's that rubber grommet in here. Actually, let me show it to you. It's a little bit easier to just show it to you. Here's the rubber grommet. So when you go to put this in from the outside, you're going to put this on, and sometimes some of this rubber will get folded down like that, and it'll be where you can feel it on the inside. You don't want that. So you just want to make sure with your fingers you go in until you get it set in place. I usually turn mine in. It does make it easier with a little bit of silicone spray. If you want to spray either the outside of this or shoot a little bit in here, and it makes it easier to put on. And then go back to the front of the video where I showed you how to take your hose, your vacuum hose from the inside and pull it through. Right now mine fell in. Not really certain where it went. Okay. Now this one wants to play hide and seek, and I haven't got my flashlight on me. Where did you go? So anyway, it's right there, and like I said, I bring it out, go ahead and screw in my my port, and then this section right here goes directly to the outside facing this way, and you put your rivets in. Basically all you have to do, we'll send you rivets, new rivets. These things are molded together, and I like to break them off, because it's very seldom that you can actually put them in. You've got to push down on the top and look for the hole so that the rivet goes in properly. I don't know if that was on there. Okay, it is. Okay. And you can get them in like that, and then you can take a hammer and tap it in. But more than likely, it's easier to break the rivet apart like I just did a minute ago. I take one side of my needle nose and I twist the rivet so it makes like an opening that's a little bit bigger, so that the pin will actually go slide right in there fairly easy. And it seems like a lot, but it's really not, especially if you do it a lot. Hopefully you won't have to. But anyhow, that's all you really need to know about taking it apart, but that's what you're looking for. Hope this helps.